The people of America love their superstars and their superheroes and their idols on the silver screen. And these are people that they know. They're accustomed to seeing them in their own homes, via television, and they feel that they're part of the family. They feel like they can trust them.
Years ago when I was working with suicide prevention, a kid committing suicide because his parents wouldn't let him have surgery to look like Michael Jackson. He was so obsessed on Michael Jackson that he wanted to physically change his appearance to be Michael Jackson.
And the milieu that we find ourselves in today is a mass media culture. It is a culture that accentuates entertainment. It's a culture that is decadent. And it's a culture that offers many ideas that are contrary to sound doctrine found in the Bible.
Many times you've heard that the god of Hollywood is money, and that these studio executives are willing to do anything, put anything on screen to make money. And that's true to a certain extent. But I've found from personal experience that one of the bigger gods of entertainment is actually the anti-Judeo-Christian bias that exists within the studio system.
I'm Carol Matriciana, and for the next hour or so you'll learn about the gods of entertainment. Who wields the power in mass media, and how do some in the industry use their influence for better or for worse? We'll also discover that surprisingly we, the recipients of mass media, aren't just a small voice. We can make a difference if we support those who are championing for change and want to use media for positive reasons. Hollywood's popular stars and singers, music groups, comedians, sports personalities, TV celebrities, news anchors and other performers are an important highlight of the massive entertainment industry. Many of them have become the new aristocrats of global society, earning much fame and fortune, and have tremendous power to influence their worldwide audiences. But while entertainers and superstars have enormous capacity to sway our youth and shape American culture, they represent only a small subdivision of today's mushrooming, multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry, which impacts virtually every aspect of our daily lives, appealing to all age groups and each demographic category. But who are the managers and decision-makers of American pop culture? Who controls the power to inform and educate on behavior, spiritual ideas, and moral values? Who are the providers of mass media such as television, videos, movies, electronic games, communication systems, the music industry, and most of today's entertainment? Surprisingly, there are only 5 American media conglomerates that own virtually 95% of all information distribution and are the source of most of the news, sports, and assorted entertainment we enjoy today. In 2001, AOL amalgamated with Time Warner in a $165 billion mega merger, forming the largest media business in history. Viacom is the next largest media multinational. Walt Disney's revenues topped $27 billion in 2003, and its worldwide assets amount to almost $50 billion. Rupert Murdoch's News Corporation is the powerful provider of news worldwide and has media holdings in USA, Canada, Europe, Australia, Latin America, and Asia. Vivendi Universal's subsidiary, Universal Music Group, is the world's #1 production and distribution music company, boasting the sale of 1 out of every 4 albums worldwide. These 5 USA media conglomerates, worth multi-billions of dollars, own the world's largest entertainment theme parks, major motion picture studios, television and radio broadcast networks and programming, video, news and sports entertainment, integrated telecommunications, including phone and wireless devices, computer software, interactive video games and electronic media, the internet, print and news media, and the substantial music industry. Within each of the 5 massive USA competing corporations exists an intricate internal business system which provides each parent company with unique networking and cross-marketing opportunities. Each is able to sell and buy talent and media products within their various businesses, and each conglomerate facilitates its own production, manufacturing, marketing, worldwide distribution, and sales, making each self-sufficient and very powerful. Through aggressive marketing, the Big Five battle daily for the ready cash of today's 32 million American teenagers, who have the potential to spend $150 billion a year. For this financial prize, corporate America seduces, entices, and deceives this largest ever generation of teens. They are the most marketed to group of young adults in the history of the world and receive up to 3,000 discrete advertising messages a day and 10 million by the time they reach 18 years of age. Numerous scientific studies show that by the time children are 17 years old, they will have spent at least 40,000 hours immersed in mass media, watching movies, videos, TV programs, playing video games, listening to music, and reading popular books and news stories. This makes entertainment among the most influential teachers of our children and the prime source of values, spiritual instruction, and behavior modification. 75% of American teens have a TV in their room, and a third have their own personal computer, where they spend, apart from other things, an average of 2 hours a day online. Chairman of Christian Film and Television Commission, Dr. Ted Baehr, founder and publisher of Movie Guide magazine, a family guide to movies and entertainment, says media has the propensity to change history and world attitudes, and that entertainers have influence to sway public opinion.
The mass media of entertainment, especially movies and television, have really been in charge for the last 50 years in the United States of America. Paul Klein, the former head of NBC, once said that it was the media that brought down Richard Nixon. It was the media that got the Vietnam War ended. Certainly you had Jane Fonda and others clearly taking a point of view which hurt the American cause tremendously.
Most of the people who are employed in the mainstream media are very left of center. This is not Jane Chastain saying this. This is from polls that are taken among the news people themselves.
Jane Chastain, best known as the nation's first female sportscaster, broke many journalistic barriers for women in a male-dominated sports world. Today, this conservative uses her influence as a political commentator and is outspoken with her views on social and moral issues. From first-hand experience, she knows that so-called factual news is not balanced. Rather, it is presented as entertainment. She says many times news is not reported accurately, and those who control news output are able to manipulate its bias.
I left sportscasting, which was part of the entertainment world, to cover politics because each and every day there were important issues being decided at the national level that affect each and every life. Everything from what goes out over the airways to whether your daughter can be given an abortion without your consent. And yet none of this is reported in the mainstream media. I think every network wants to think of itself as fair and balanced. But for example, when I would go on CNN to debate the issues, I would generally be interviewed or moderated, if you will, by a liberal host, and I would be the lone conservative, and they would call that balanced. On Fox News, it's just simply the other way around. The old cliche about CNN, they called it the Clinton News Network. Well, Fox News, in every sense of the word, truly is the Bush News Network. If you are going to truly do something positive about your government, you have got to hold your own accountable. And unfortunately, the media, whether it's liberal or conservative, isn't willing to do that because the politicians, the president, for example, is so powerful that he will deny access to those people he feels treat him unfairly. It is all about access. It is all about the next interview with the next important person. And whether a media outlet has a liberal slant or a conservative slant, they are simply going to go so far, and they are not going to cross a line that is going to anger the person in charge, the person who has ultimate control.
One of the most cogent statements that's ever been made is that the media controls the culture and the culture elects the politicians. Of course, now the politicians are the media stars that the media has put forward anyway. But the media does create the culture's attitude toward government, toward the world, and it creates the world's attitude toward us. A recent study from Boston University showed that in most countries of the world after 9/11, kids hated the United States. They found out that kids thought that Americans were violent, that Americans were criminal, that American women were prostitutes. And they asked these kids, Boston University, commissioned by the State Department, why do you feel this way? And they said, have you ever met an American? 90% of the kids had never met an American. All they'd seen is American movies and television programs. So not only does it shape the attitudes of the youth in America to be pushing the envelope and to mimic these behaviors, but it pushes the rest of the world who has a strong sense of envy about the United States to hate us for the violence and the criminal activities, which are not in the real life of America, but just seen on the screen.
The attitudes portrayed in the media and those of movie stars hold power to influence the audience with their political or spiritual points of view.
Over the years, lots of celebrities have tried to use the media to influence people. Many of them have developed a strong following that, that think that their points of view are accurate.
It's perfectly natural for the movie star, the mega star on the screen or the television, to want to cuddle up to politicians. They attach themselves to some political issue or cause in, I believe, a need to be relevant.
Martin Sheen today is still proclaiming his leftist views. He's out there continually in political campaigns trying to get people to support the candidates that he wants.
If you looked at Arnold Schwarzenegger over the last number of years, you see that he subscribed to gay rights. He was a hardcore supporter of abortion rights.
You see Congress doing incredible things like bringing in actors and actresses to testify on very detailed bits of legislation which they know nothing about and don't have any experience or education on. The great actress Meryl Streep went on this whole Aller scare about the Aller in apples that even caused a congressional hearing, which was shown afterwards exposed as a complete hoax.
When Barbara Streisand goes to the White House to be with Bill Clinton, it makes the news. And when a star has reached a certain level, the star has got to sustain that level. And one way you do that is by continually being in the news. It's important for the next project.
One way to find out about the politics and beliefs of a person is to trace how they spend their time and money. One of the most celebrated and modern stars is the British author J.K. Rowling, creator of the notable teenage witch Harry Potter, and what she put her money into speaks volumes. In 2001, she wrote 2 special books comprised of the outtakes of her famous Harry Potter series. The books were entitled Quidditch Through the Ages and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. She donated their sales amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars to support UNICEF, the United Nations Children's Fund, and its work to empower the global child. UNICEF is a subsidiary of the United Nations, an organization dedicated to the social solidarity of a global utopian community. Part of the